Fucking hell, it's the Ragamuffin Music Podcast.
I'm Alex.
I'm James.
And I'm Dan.
And this is the Ragamuffin Music Podcast, a place for us to talk about the music we love. Every month we get together, talk about the latest news, music and trends in the world of alternative music.
On this episode, we'll be reviewing new singles from Pup, Tala and Miss May I, as well as the latest albums from Mum Jeans and Vane FM.
We'll be discussing this summer's festivals, talking through the lineups and talking about what we like and don't like.
Before all that though, wheels or doors? I want to know.
Well, we've had a bit of a discussion
We've had
already.
a slight discussion, but yeah.
My initial reaction was doors.
Yes.
I was like, think of cars. Although they might have 4 wheels, 5 doors. Thinking
Yeah,
of
all right.
doors in a house.
Lorry. It's got more wheels than doors.
Yeah.
Motorbike.
For the most
more
part,
wheels
what's
than
going to be on
doors.
the roads? Cars.
Yeah, bikes.
Yeah.
Wheelbarrows. Wheelchairs.
Inside houses, sliding doors, patio doors.
Yeah, but surely there's a wheel
Swing
somewhere
doors.
in a sliding
But
door.
think
There's a
of-
wheel
Yes.
somewhere in the mechanism of a sliding door.
In hinges and
in hinges.
inside like
I
the
wouldn't
rollers
call
and
that, is that a
doors.
wheel?
Yeah, if you've got a drawer,
Is that a wheel?
There's a
Yeah, but
wheel
not like
in
a
that
hinge
mechanism.
on a door, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there'll be a little wheel kind of mechanism.
Okay,
in the
what?
hinge.
Think of like a school. Think of the amount of like doors you're going to have in like a school kind of environment.
Yeah. Behind every door in a classroom, chances are there's an office chair with wheels on it.
Okay, doors.
I did used to be team doors, but then I thought of conveyor belts.
Yep. They're wheels.
Can I also not care that much as you two probably do?
I care quite a
That's
lot.
the other thing. I also didn't give a shit to start with, and then I was like, "Hang on, no, it's clearly wheels."
And you've got invested now and you want to defend the position.
Oh,
of
not that
wheels.
invested. I'm over it now.
You're invested though.
I'm invested. It's wheels. Let's look at the news. Okay, Slipknot have confirmed the identity of Tortilla Man as Michael Pfaff, a bandmate of Clown from another project. It pretty much was known that this was him, but now it's actually been confirmed when Pfaff did a Reddit AMA the other day. Now we know.
I was surprised to see it just casually post on their social media of him just holding the sign like, "Hi, this is my name." And
yeah,
this
it was
is who I am. It was
extremely
just like,
casual, wasn't it?
oh, this really just kind of came out of nowhere. And have you seen any of the Q&A? Have you seen what he said?
No.
I've not known.
There was one question that stood out to me in particular, which someone had said to him, when was the moment you felt like you're really part of the band? And he put on there today. So I think for him,
Wow, that's nice.
that kind of
Aw.
moment of like, okay, they've put my name out there. It was almost like when Jay and Alessandro came through, they actually had their name out there. And I think he put that on there. He talked a little bit about his experience, how he was part of the recording of the new album as well, how he was a bit approached by it. I think I've seen before that it was Sid who introduced him to Clown in the first place. So like he knew of the band members beforehand. So I think it had interaction. Them when he was with Dirty Little Rabbits, Clown's other band, they toured with Stone Sour, so he would have met Corey, likely Jim, depending on time period of when that all came out. So I think looking at it all beforehand, it was always, this is like the 99% chance of it, and now it's confirmed. And yeah, it's just cool to know, I guess, isn't it?
I just thought it was such a random post on you know,
It came out of nowhere.
yeah.
There was a lot of fan love in that Q&A. I think
Yeah.
that was like a nice part to see out of it, because with a band like this, you probably get a lot of people sometimes who are quite defensive on them and like, oh, you're not a part of the original 9 and all
Yeah.
kinds of shit like that. So yeah.
It's nice that he said that he only first felt like part of the band now that his name's out there, now
Yeah.
that the fans know who he is. It kind of shows that he values the fans as being part of the band as well.
Yeah, it was just like a really nice back and forth from what I'd seen between them. And like he'd already been to meet and greets and things like that, but I think like it's like a nice turning point in the band now, I guess.
All right, Dolly Parton has declined her Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nomination, feeling that she doesn't deserve it. And I'm here to say that yes, you do, Dolly.
It's very modest of her, but I think we've discussed before when we've talked about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily a genre; it's a state of mind, an attitude,
Lifestyle.
and I think Dolly Parton fits that.
Yeah, I think she does. Good on her. Go on, girl, I say.
Especially, didn't she partly fund or own some of the medical businesses that made the vaccine?
Did she?
I think so. Well,
Because she did a
we'll have to
Jolene
look
thing,
that
didn't
up.
she? I want to say
yeah,
that
she did a post
she
like
did a post-
vaccine. Yeah.
vaccine.
Let's get
Vaccine,
some quick adjudication
vaccine.
Jesus. Dolly Parton partly funded Moderna COVID vaccine research.
on that. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, go on, love. Amazing.
That's rock and roll.
The last bit of news, the Prodigy have announced their first UK tour date since the passing of legendary frontman Keith Flint. And the tour also coincides with the 20th anniversary of the album The Fat of the Land. So, a big old tour to go to. But it's a shame that Keith has passed because he was obviously amazing, but I still think Prodigy live would be surreal. So, if you're a Prodigy fan, let us know if you're going in the comments. And that's the news. Not a lot happened. Jay, what did you recommend last time?
So I recommended War is the Answer by Five Finger Death Punch.
I'll go first and say that I know that people call Five Finger Death Punch butt rock, but if liking butt rock is wrong, I don't want to be right. I really like this album. I like their first 2 albums. It's going to be embarrassing to say this, but I've got a lot of sentimental value attached to this album from listening to it relentlessly on holiday with our grandparents.
Yeah.
So listening to this album sort of conjures up those memories of being on holiday and being with my grandparents. So in a way, it's quite a comforting album for me.
There's a lot of nostalgia behind it
Yeah.
from when we kind of got into them. I remember it was like hard to see that I saw on the TV when I was in Wales with grandparents. And I remember sending it to you before you came down to meet me and like, oh, check this out. I've just seen this on TV and the music video and all of this. And from then on, this was the first album I heard and then went back to Way of the Fist afterwards. So yeah, it just holds a special place for me, I guess.
I think it's a great album. It's very front-loaded, I think. The first, 6 songs are immense, and then it sort of starts to dip in quality, but great album. Dying Breed's one of my favourite songs until you set it as an alarm on your phone when we were younger. It's the worst thing you can ever do is
That's a poor choice.
set a song for an alarm, because then you just run into the ground.
But it is an incredible intro
It
album.
is an incredible
song to the album.
Great album.
I quite like how... I haven't listened to Five Finger Death Punch for a while, but I like how you kind of expect it to be heavy, but it's not. There's a clear focus more on melody and writing a big catchy chorus. Well, not necessarily catchy, but like a big sounding chorus is more the focus here than just being as heavy as possible, which is what most metal bands do. So I really liked it for that reason.
I do think they've sort of become a parody of themselves the last few albums, but early Death Punch is
It's
bloody
good.
solid.
I say first 2-3 albums was good, and then you look at I think it's like their album 10's meant to come out at some point this year.
Jesus.
And a lot of it, they've got a distinct sound. You can hear they've got guitar tones that they will use again and again, and they've got song structures that will get repeated. Some stuff I've heard throughout the years as I've kind of dipped back in and heard songs, it has varied, and they've tried to experiment a bit more, but they do fall back into their general, this is how we formulate a song and that kind of thing. So they've got good value for that. They've got a catalogue that I wouldn't be surprised if they do headline download one day. But yeah, those older albums, good shit.
Dan, what did you recommend?
I recommended Far Q by Lower Than Atlantis.
So I think this was my first experience listening to them on a full album, and I really loved it. First thing off the bat, that when you recommended it and just looking at the album, the song names, incredible. And I think it just gives you a fun feel to it before you even start going and listening to the album. I think it was just fun all the way throughout, and I just found myself jamming to it a couple of times, headbanging along. Great riffs. There's a nice mix of genres throughout it as well. They kind of dip in and out of a few different parts. Bored and Eating is Cheating stood out as the main jams for me, and it's even funny just saying the names out because it's just some great names for it. But there wasn't any particular song on that I don't think I didn't enjoy. Everyone kind of stood out as I listened to it and just had a great time. So
that's always good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was really surprised because my only exposure to this band has been Here We Go. So
they've been on a bit of a journey.
Yeah, I didn't expect what happened in the first song when I actually pressed. I thought it was going to be just that sort of cool, alternative, British rock sound, and it's crazy. I really, really liked it. Again, Bored. I really liked I'm Not Bulimic. I also liked ASL. The lyrics were just fun, and it was really, really fun to listen to. And the songs are so short, and it was so easy to just repeat it over and over and over again.
One of my favourite things about this album, I think, is how the lyrics are kind of creative and tongue-in-cheek, but some of them are also really dark and have some real emotion behind them. On the title track Far Q, straight away you've got a lyric that I think it's, I'll hang you by the neck of your Fred Perry from my tie a rope round the neck of your Fred Perry and hang you from the family tree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's kind of a joke, but also
the sort of tongue-in-cheek nature of
pretty,
it, sort of is really charming. I think. Yeah, I really like this album.
And then Alex, you recommended?
I recommended Hello, It's You by Bearings, and I don't know how this one's going to land.
Shall I go first? Should we save James to the end? I wasn't massively into it, but it's a really nice, easy listen. I felt the first track, Better Yesterday, was probably my favourite, which kind of sets up the rest of the album to be a little bit more disappointing, I think.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think Sway follows that as well, and I thought that was great as well, but then kind of the rest kind of leans more heavily to the pop side of pop punk, which doesn't appeal to me as much, and it kind of lost that punch a bit, I think, after the first 2 tracks as well. It goes down more of like a Pale Waves kind of route of being like an alternative pop.
Yeah, or a bit
rather than
like
punky.
Seaway, but not as catchy, I think. Maybe
yeah,
sometimes.
I think so. But I mean, I listened to it while I was walking the dog on a sunny day, and it fitted that mood really nicely.
Yeah, kind of similar. Like, it's chilled, standard music, like, in the nicest way, plain, but, like, couldn't necessarily find a lot wrong with it. And, like, much I can criticize in a way, but then on the flip side, there's nothing much that would draw me into it in terms of, like, the things, like, and the musical cues that I listen to in music that are like, oh, cool, that's piqued my interest on, like, different kind of parts. I find that Love Me Like You Did and Over Now stood out to me a little bit more in terms of the track listing. And the rest of it, like I said, it seemed a little bit plain, a little bit repetitive, but like I say, there's not a lot I could pull from it and say, oh, I didn't like this song for this reason, or criticize it in a certain way. It just kind of happened in a good way.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I recommended it because I'd only heard Sway, so I wanted to sort of give myself an opportunity to listen to it as well.
Well, what did you think then as well?
I think because I was going into it like wanting to listen to it, whereas not that when we recommend each other albums it's a bad thing, but because this was like my own pick, I think I've probably listened to it more than you guys might have done, and I think that repeatability sort of hooked me into some of the choruses and some of the lyrics. I thought the vocalist, the tone of his voice was really good, and I like that there was the guitarist sings as well sometimes, and I like it when pop punk bands do that sort of dual vocalists, especially on Sway. You can hear it a lot. I thought it was just nice. It was just an easygoing, easy listening album.
Yeah, I can't really criticize it that much. It's just good.
And I think they would be a really fun band to see, like, supporting a Pup or a Story So Far, or, being on bill with
I think they'd be perfect, like, in the middle of the day on, like, a sunny day at a festival.
Yeah, like a nice slam dunk, early day vibe, yeah.
Cider in your hand.
Yeah, and I think they're still relatively a young band, so there's still more to explore. I also quite liked, you guys might not have noticed or might not care for it, but because we put the deluxe edition in our playlist, and the last song on it was a Harry Styles cover, and I actually really liked it. I liked what they did with that interpretation of the song, and I like the original as well. Sue me. Go on, kick me.
I don't remember that happening, and I had not heard the original anyway, so
we'll play it after this. On to the reviews.
First up, let's talk about a song from one of my favourite bands. It's a new one from them, Matilda by Pup. What do we think?
I thought it was a very, very well-written song, and you can hear so many layers of, like, carefully composed music with, like, each of the instrumentals complementing each other. And for me, that includes the vocals. I feel like, compared to most mixes and you're going to hear in it, they're going to be more front and center, whereas this felt like it was just truly in the center. So it blended in with guitars, with drums, with bass, and that it was its own instrument in a way, and not as solely focused. And kind of with that, the mix, the production, I felt like I sat behind the drum kit. Some mixes you'll hear that, some you don't, but I really felt like I was there, and I could feel like the band in front of me as well. It's not necessarily something I think I'll go back to again and again necessarily, but then the more listens I had, it grew on me. And now with knowing the album's coming out next month, it's one that I've kind of got on my radar a little bit in terms of, okay, let's just see what the rest of it's like. If I'm loving the mix of this, if that's done throughout the album, that's going to be a really pleasant listen. And if I like how this end product's turned out, that end product could be very, very good as well. So, yeah, it was surprising for me.
Yeah, I'm really falling in love with Pup as a band. Between this and Robot Writes a Love Song, as well as you recommending Dream Is Over a few months ago, I'm just, like, enamoured with the way this band writes music, like, from the way they put chord progressions together to the choice of words in the lyrics. Like, it feels, like, effortlessly hopeless, but, like, relentlessly optimistic at the same time, which is great. And to be able to, like, have a song this emotionally resonant for me that's about a guitar is like, I think, just a testament to Stefan's writing, and I'm really, really excited for the album.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about the storytelling within the songs. The fact that you kind of feel an attachment to this guitar, you feel sorry for it in a way.
Yeah.
Like in the past, they've written songs about a chameleon, a car, a computer, a dog, and now a guitar, and somehow I've managed to form an attachment to all of these things. Some of them inanimate objects. So yeah, that says a lot about how well they write stories within their songs. Fun fact as well, the guitar that's mentioned in the song Matilda was actually used to record this song as well. Nice little factoid.
Little callback.
And for me, Puffs are just the masters of fun riffs and addictive hooks, and that's continued with this and the last 2 singles from the upcoming album, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, fun's the word, isn't it, for this band?
Yeah, really, really good.
I'm excited that you guys are becoming Pup fans as well.
Yeah, big time.
I want to see him live at Trees.
All right, let's talk about Telescope by Tala and how they're just the coolest band in the world. My first instinct, I wasn't massively blown away by it on the first listen, but the more I've listened to it, the more it's grown on me. I feel like every element that makes Tala good is turned up to 11 in this song. I think Justin's the MVP of the song, but not so much so that it distracts from everything else that's going on. And intrigued about the new concept. I don't know if you guys have looked into it or seen anything about it. I'll get to that in a minute, but what do you guys think of the song?
I pretty much the same kind of thing as you. It took me a few listens to feel like I got the song, and you kind of know they've got a good distinct sound in terms of them as just the music, and then it is his vocals. The things that he can do with his voice is incredible, and it just reiterates that he is one of the best vocalists around currently. And it's not like you forget about it, but it's just like, we're just going to remind you all of the mad shit he can do, like different segments as it goes through the song. It's absolutely fantastic. They've got like the sound and the mix and the music that any song that comes on by them I want to listen to. And my only concern is Max. With the Code Orange gig, I know they're out touring at the moment. I don't want it to take away from Tala and impact them. And I know they've had a few different touring drummers do bits. I know who's jumping onto certain gigs. And then I guess there's a selfish part of me that knows if I'm going to see them live, I want to see him behind the kit. Because then I'm getting like the full experience, because there's so much incredible shit he does behind the drums, like the last kind of ending sequence. There's just some fun stuff going on there, playing around with the timing, playing around with the grooves. And I don't want that to be taken away because he's now touring drummer for another band.
Yeah, it seems like a critical time for them. Like, Matrifgy was amazing. Now that touring is back up, they seemingly are keeping themselves busy. But then again, like, obviously Max shouldn't be turning down the Code Orange opportunity because it's amazing. But I know what you mean. There is a worry in the back of your mind about like how it could have implications for Tala. But I don't know. Hopefully it will sort of...
I feel like they've got the potential to be something big. They're young. The music they're putting out is consistent and at a high level.
It feels like more and more people are talking about them as well.
Yeah, they're getting noticed, and you want that to keep going on the incline. You don't want that to plateau at any point. And I think he is a big part of that, still consistently going on that incline.
What do you think of the song, Dan?
I loved it. I mean, every member of this band's just an animal, and Justin's a monster on top of that as well. There aren't many bands that can create such a sense of kind of chaotic harmony. Like, it's like just everything's going on at once, but also it feels like it's so coherent and like it's to plan and that everything's meant to be going that way. Yeah, I just love them. They're great.
Interesting to note that Vanilla Paste is not on the track listing for the new album.
Oh, okay,
so it's a standalone single.
What do you know about the concept behind it then?
I'll read out a quote from Justin. It's a concept album about a genius scientist who gets fed up with being swept under the rug. After the multi-billion-dollar corporation that employs him takes credit for his latest award-winning invention, he snaps and retaliates against them by forcing them to take part in the greatest experiment the world of science has ever seen. What that could be is still a mystery, but
Frankenstein's monster.
I mean, knowing what Matrifgy was and how dark that gets, this could go anywhere. They've also released a game that you can play online that apparently immerses you deep in the concept of the story, which is not something don't think I've really seen before or heard about a band releasing a game.
No, I can't think of anything that comes to mind.
I've yet to play it, but maybe we'll have a little gamer session after this.
I think Pup did one, actually. No, that was like do you remember when YouTube did those interactive stories? Pup did one of those.
Oh, right.
But if this is an actual like video game, that's
quite cool.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I mean, Matrifty was great. I'm trying to like keep my expectations low because Matrifty was so good, and I think that's why my first reaction to this song was not negative, but a bit sort of whelmed.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I get that.
September. I'm looking forward to it.
Speaking of being whelmed, it's a phrase we use a lot on this podcast, but let's talk about Miss May I's Unconquered. I was whelmed.
I am whelmed.
Generic.
Yeah.
It felt like it has like 2008 early metalcore era sound to it, which has obviously been and gone. It's been done. The screams are great. The lead guitar's nice. I like how the chorus kind of comes out of nowhere like a ghostly apparition. It feels a bit of like it's very inspired by Amity Affliction though. I felt, which is fine. They do it right, so may as well do a similar thing to them. I also really liked the kind of false peak in the build-up before the breakdown. That caught me off guard. But other than that, it's just a metalcore song, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the problem is it definitely, like you said, it plays on sort of a style of the past. But we saw bands like Dying Wish take the 2000s metalcore sound and like rework it into something new, and this doesn't feel like anything new.
No, I agree.
Which is a shame because their album At Heart, which was like the early 2010s, phenomenal metalcore album, but this doesn't feel, and I've not listened to them since then, and it feels like there's been no progression from that sound, which is a shame. So yeah,
The annoying bit is I feel like there's parts of the song that feel like they've got some more potential, and then it just can't live up to that. And like the vocals do have a decent performance, the chorus stands out nicely. I felt like one of the annoying points for me was that in the guitars, it felt like there was no like attack on the riffs, and it felt like I'm listening to it from a really far distance away, and that you don't hear like where the plectrum or the fingers are actually hitting the strings and making the contact, and that's kind of what helps make a riff a little bit more bouncy, and you kind of get that attack and that on there. And even with the drums, I felt like there's a lack of punch on that. You're not hearing like the stick making an impact on that, which is going to give, like, especially in metalcore with a good highly tuned snare, you're going to want that to crack through in a mix, and it just doesn't feel like it's there.
You've absolutely hit the nail on the head there, because the riffs in this song are perfectly,
There's good
perfectly
riffs.
cool.
That's the thing. That's what
but there's
potential.
there's no feeling behind it, and like it completely takes you out of the song. Well, it took me out of the song.
And I hadn't listened to them as much as you have in the past, and for me going into it, I was kind of like, oh, okay, give me a chance to maybe get into them, and I was just left disappointed. And that was just the sad kind of part of it, coming out of it. I wished for better and didn't get it.
Well, that ties in great to the next song.
Speaking of wishing for better,
Machine Gun Kelly is bloody at it again. This song is called Maybe, and it features Bring Me the Horizon. Someone talk about it.
I think maybe this might have to be the last time we talk about Machine Gun Kelly, because it's just the same thing every time. Is it a terrible song? No. Is it soulless, boring, and a waste of an Ollie Sykes feature? Absolutely. There's also a little Paramore rip-off in the chorus, I will allege.
Yeah. We got to be careful about saying whether or not things get ripped off anymore.
Yeah.
Muse.
But yeah, it's not a bad song. It's just it doesn't do anything. It's just there. It's existing.
The fun part is that there were 7 or 8 people that contributed to the writing of this, some of whom have written some incredible songs in the past, and it still turned out like this.
Travis Barker's in there again.
Oh,
course
fucking
he is.
another day off, mate.
He thought he'd sneak into this one because he's not named, but you check out the credits, there he is.
Do you reckon he's got like some kind of
writer and producer?
So he's got some dirt on Machine Gun Kelly or some shit.
Either
Just to
that
get
or-
in there.
Either that or he's been cloned.
Yeah.
Brainwashed? Cult?
Oh, do you remember all those great songs I wrote in the late 90s? What if I just
Do
kept
them
doing
again.
it over and over again? Yeah, I got nothing to say other than I missed 2 weeks ago when I didn't know about this. It was a simpler time.
Should we move on?
Moving on to something that I'm very positive about is Sweet Tooth by Mum Jeans, their third album. I think this is one of the few albums when people say a band has matured, I actually sort of get what people mean. James, you might not really know because I don't think you've listened to Mum Jeans before, but from Best Buds to Puppy Love to this, it is a band like maturing and growing up. I mean, there are definitely still some tongue-in-cheek things going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's sort of in an earnest, like, charming way. But I think it's a lot more few and far between rather than being the dominant feature, which was the case on previous albums. It's just a heart on the sleeve songwriting. I think it's got some of the best choruses in modern emo and pop punk at the moment, especially on What's Up. I also found that Sugar Rush, Graduate in Life, those two, along with What's Up, is like the three pillars of this album, and they each like showcased a side of this band that I love, and I can't wait to see them at Slam Dunk.
Yeah, like you said, the tongue-in-cheek feel is still there in songs like Hippo in the Water, but in a lot of it, it's actually a really heartfelt and emotional album. I like to kind of brand this as loser punk.
Yeah, I like that.
It's kind of, for me, a mix of modern baseball and Blink-182. Because you've got that kind of Midwest emo style with the hammer-ons with the guitar, but also big power chords to kind of make those choruses really sound huge. There's a really nice production style, but it still has kind of that DIY charm about it at the same time. Some lovely layering that, like I said, makes the choruses towards the end of the songs kind of sound like a huge sing-along. And throughout the duration of the album, it kind of feels like you're going from the start of a relationship with, like the quote, "Don't care if I end up with cavities," to kind of towards the end of the album, you've got "Looking back, I was so stupid" in 10 minutes. And in the closing song, Teeth, you've got "Now you're just cavities," which kind of shows that they regret going into this relationship, perhaps. So I think it's nice to kind of have that journey from the start to finish.
I like how you just look at me afterwards. I got positives, I got negatives.
It's always interesting. I like when we review stuff like this because you give a complete outsider opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm always intrigued.
And we get to have a really educated discussion with each other where we respect each other's opinions.
Mm.
And let's don't just automatically say that each other are wrong.
Yeah, let's find out.
Bees fans.
So a nice chilled vibe throughout. A consistent album from start to finish. I think it's very nicely mixed and produced, and it was refreshing to hear that across the album. Musically, I felt like each song was very well written, and that time and attention was spent on various things like the song structure down to smaller details like drum fills, like in Circus Clown in particular, some really nice little parts. The bit that really took me away from it in the most part, and I think it carried across most of the album, was the lyrics. And they're very, very strong and self-deprecating. And particularly
that's
like in
loser
What's
punk,
Up,
mate.
it is. But so I'm sure this is a lot of people, something that people can relate to a lot and draws them into this band. A bit like, I'm used to that emotional stuff. You get that with Beartooth, a band that I have a strong connection with. I love them. But it felt like just some of the content, some of the lines were just a bit too much for me to listen to. And then it kind of made me immediately kind of draw back from it as a song, as the music. So then okay, I can't jam to this as much. So for me, it was nicer to have something on in the background with this and not spend time listening to. And I felt like that was the best way for me to enjoy this as an album, because the times I spent trying to actually listen to it, break it down and pick it apart and get a real good feel for it actually took me away from it based on the lyrical content.
That's really interesting because I think that's actually the main draw for Mum Jeans, at least from like older work, is like the self-deprecation and the, like...
It's kind of the lyrics are self-deprecating, but the sound is like happy.
You get that contrast between it, but that's where
it's almost ironic, I guess.
Yeah,
like in What's Up, there's a line that's like, "I'm not quite sure why nothing makes me feel like getting out of bed," which is really bleak when you say it like that.
But with the beat and the guitar, it's like jazz hands.
Yeah, it's almost like trying to pass. It's like when you're in a conversation, you try and pass off something serious as a joke. It's like trying to let those serious comments slip through the net, which I think is like what people can relate to about it. But then if that's like what's like blocking you from getting into it, that's fair enough.
Like I said, with Beartooth, I look at songs like Disease and that, like that's a big one for me, for a lot of people, and that's got a lot of emotion behind it, and it's got that kind of that feel, and it's like really is wearing your heart on your sleeve and that kind of putting your emotions all out on the table. But it just felt with some of the lyrical content on this, the lines just went a bit too overboard. And I feel like if it had pulled back slightly maybe on some of it, I probably would have really enjoyed this as a thorough album in terms of that. And it was just the musical content, lovely. The lyrics were the things that drew me out.
But yeah, I think that's their whole point though. Like the first lyric on the first album is, "I think it's about time that I warned you I might cry in front of you." So I think from the get-go, they've been a band that have like,
while that lyric's going on, it's like a really fun little do-do, do-do, do.
I mean, it's interesting though to sort of see that be the thing that holds you back from this band, when I think it's the thing that attracts a lot of people. So.
I think that's disrespectful towards the band and the fan base.
Yeah, fuck you, James. Sorry,
Muse.
I was a Muse fan for a second.
No one would get that reference unless they've read our comments.
Oh, by the way, this is a Muse haters podcast.
So go watch our review from Muse. I can't remember the song name, but they basically may have stolen some things.
Sorry to my friend Ross if he's listening, because he loves Muse, but
Go fuck yourself, Ross.
Ross, I love you. I'm sorry.
This is now a Ross Stan podcast.
We stan Ross, we hate Muse. There we go.
Getting that on a t-shirt.
Yep. Just a picture of his face. All right. Last thing to review. That's a terrible segue. I'm not going to say that.
We had to wait a while to listen to this song, didn't we? It's Vain FM, The World Is Going to Ruin You.
Oh, go on. Let it ruin me. I thought this album was great. They've said that this album is a sort of a concept album about the human condition from birth to death. And if that's the case, then they've presented the bleakest and angriest life ever imaginable. And I'd very much like to live it, please, because this album was fun. I just thought it was great. Like, sorry.
I love it. It's great.
James has just talked about how Mum Jeans are too, like, explicitly depressing with their lyrics.
Yeah.
And now they're...
Continue.
Yeah. I'd like to live the bleakest life imaginable. I liked the sort of the balance between the anguish in the screams and the softness in the clean vocals that are like peppered throughout this album. I think it's especially shown on a track like Wavery. I just thought that was a really cool vibe. And I like that I saw a thing that said that the last two songs in this album take up a third of its runtime, which is pretty crazy, actually.
I did think that when I saw the runtime for, is it Funeral?
Yeah.
Something, Funeral Anthem or something?
Oh, God.
Last track on the album, though.
Yeah.
7 minutes.
When I saw the running time for
Funeral Sound.
That's it. When I saw the running time for that compared to everything else, I was a bit like, okay, this could be interesting.
I just
And
really
it
like
kind of
I really like the whole album. What do you guys think?
I was just wonderfully heavy from start to finish, really. I think Welcome Home was a really good way to set the tone for it. It's like dark and it lets you know what you're in for. Killing Room, I think, is still my favourite song, based on the single we heard from it. I loved it then, and I think it stands out on the release perfectly. And there's just so many seamless transitions, which I've got 50-50 on, because it goes from song to song, and like on one side, it flows nicely, and on others, I lost track a little bit on like which song I was listening to, because of it being so fast-paced in the transitions. I'm like, oh, shit, I think I've missed the name of a song. I was kind of looking back and trying to think of ones that stood out.
I think in some ways that might be the point, though, to sort of like disorientate you as you listen and be like losing track of where you are.
That's
True.
what I picked out on. There's like kind of this, the sound palette they use kind of makes you feel unnerved and slightly uncomfortable. You have kind of distorted, dissonant chords kind of scratching at your ears, and unpredictable time signatures and tempo changes that kind of keep you on your guard constantly.
But you also have those nice breather points, like Wherever You Are was a really nice respite in the album. It's like, oh, okay, chill, catch my breath a second before we just go back into kind of unrelenting force, I guess, with that. But then you also had stuff like the clean vocals in Fear and Nonfiction, which also then has some fun drum sections. It has much more of a better dynamic range in total, where they really get to explore things. And like we said about the song timings, Inside Design is 66 seconds long, but it feels like perfect for what it needs. It's heavy, it's got a great vocal performance, groovy riffs, nice cymbal accents, all in 1 minute and 6 seconds, which is absolutely incredible. And I think it's an album that's going to grow on me over time still as well. And I know, like, going to see them later this year, it's going to be one that I think is just going to get those repeat listens slowly, and one that I think you can really start to fall in love with, to be honest.
Yeah, I think also those moments of like release and calm makes the heaviness even better, because it would have been so easy for Vane to have just written an album that goes 100% all the time, but the moments where it drops back down means that it punctuates.
Well, I think with the way the album format works, you don't want every second of every song to be blast beats and heavy guitar tones. You want that kind of break with some clean vocals or some atmospheric sounds.
Yeah. And
they use sounds quite well in here as well. Like, I've branded this the same as I had the Code Orange album, as horrorcore. Because I like the little sounds that they throw in the production with like children's laughter, Like there's a gasp for breath on Lights Out, and like I like to go for walks and stuff when I listen to the albums and the songs that we're reviewing. I went out on a really nice sunny day with the dog, and walking past like some old ladies, like chatting to them and waving at them as I go past. They probably think, "Oh, what a lovely young man." And then I look down at my phone and I'm listening to a song called "Orgy at the Morgue," and it's like, yeah,
Appropriate.
I really, really like this album.
Did Will Putney produce this?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
He simply does not miss.
He's always good.
Yeah. Can't wait. Their
Incredible.
Outbreak. Can't wait. Oh, fantastic. What a month.
And next month, upcoming releases. Got quite a few coming out, but we're going to highlight some key ones. So on the 1st of April, we have got 2 albums. We've got Red Hot Chili Peppers releasing Unlimited Love. We've got Pup releasing The Unraveling of Pup the Band. On the 8th, we've got Papa Roach with Ego Trip. On the 15th, Spanish Love Songs are releasing Brave Faces, etc. 22nd, we've got Obsidian by Northlane. On the 23rd, Kirk Hammett is releasing his Portals EP that we briefly mentioned before. And then on the 29th, Rammstein are releasing Zeit. Do you have any of those that particularly stand out to you that you're looking forward to?
Love Pup. I'm looking forward to hearing them unravel.
Yeah, Pup's going to be great. I'm interested to see what the Chili Peppers album will be like. I believe this is the first one with John Frusciante back.
Again.
And he is one of my favourite guitar players. So hopefully it's good. Also, the Kirk Hammett one will be cool. Don't know what it's going to be like. But again, another one of my favourite guitar players. So it's going to be great.
I'm looking forward to that Spanish Love Songs revisit, rewrite, whatever they want to call it as well, because they seem to so far have made some already really sad songs even sadder. So
Losers 2 was bleak, wasn't it?
Yeah.
God.
I think I'm looking forward to a few here. Pup, based on Matilda. I'm like this month now very much looking forward to that. The Kirk Hammett I think will be interesting. I want to see and hear how much it differs from any Metallica if he tries exploring anything new. And despite being disappointed over and 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 over again by Northlane,
It's only been 3 songs.
still disappointed.
He listens
Every time you listen,
Yeah, every time. No, like it's come up. We were at a gig and it came on in between, and I remember hearing one of the songs that I didn't like and just being like, "Oh fuck." But they get touted so much as a good band, and I've had them recommended by so many people that I want to find a point where it can actually appeal and I can enjoy it. I'm still yet to find that. So there's just a part that's holding on to like the last little kind of grip I can. And I think this album will be that make or break with whether I actually do enjoy any of it or if I just bin him off in terms of any band I'm going to listen to, really.
Fair enough. We finally have the gig talk section back. Huzzah.
Woo!
We had 2 gigs to kick off our 2022 calendar. I had 2 gigs, sorry. You bozos had 1.
Oh, 2 gigs.
2 gigs.
So we'll talk about my gig first then.
All right, Alex, 2 gigs.
I went to see Pale Waves in Oxford with support from Hot Milk, and it was a very fun night. Any questions?
I mean, we also had a fun night because we went to an emo night at the
you
Two
guys got
Academy, so
wankered and went to the emo night.
great times.
Oi, oi.
Yeah,
How
Waves
are Hot Milk?
very, very good.
They've got
Yeah,
some new songs, I think, now.
yeah. I got into them like 3 days beforehand because my girlfriend was playing them relentlessly. I was like, oh, this band's great, because we missed them at the Heavy Music Awards. Well,
I think
we
saw
caught
like
their
the
As
last
they got
song.
in there, yeah.
So it was
And I saw them at Download 2019 while you were watching the wrestling.
no regrets.
I was probably asleep at that point.
Yeah, James fell asleep in the crowd. Hot Milk were really, really fun. I like the dual vocalists again, like I said earlier. So it's fun, really fun live when sort of one of them can take the mic and move around a bit while the other one's playing, and just that back and forth. And yeah, they were really, really fun. And Pale Waves were just amazing. Like, the vibes in the room, just sensational. They played a new song live, which I really, really liked. They've got a little clip of it in our vlog, which is in top corner of the screen right now. Yeah, no complaints. Had a few beers, had a nice time, had a little sing and a dance.
Sensational vibes.
Yeah, sensational vibes.
Well, the following week, we all went to see Trash Boat at the Bullingdon, also in Oxford.
Also sensational vibes.
Also sensational vibes.
Oh, okay,
Thoughts, feelings? I'll tell you what, Dan, you've seen Trash Boat a ludicrous amount of times in the
Yeah.
past 6 months.
I couldn't tell you how many times, to be honest.
How was this any different?
They played a lot of older stuff,
Yes.
which was really nice. Braveface was great.
Braveface was very good.
Strangers they've never dropped anyway, but that's always great. 11 was a really nice surprise. That was a lot of fun. I was worried at the start that things weren't going to open up. The crowd was a little bit awkward,
Yeah.
which we mentioned at the end of the vlog, which you can watch in the top corner of the screen.
It's just really annoying about Oxford, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like such a reserved city.
Everyone seems either too polite or they're just not that bothered until the band goes,
fucking get on with it.
fucking open this shit up.
The only
Yeah,
one,
all right then.
The only one that comes to mind was when you guys went somewhere else, but I went to go see Architects. That's the only gig in Oxford that I've been to where I could say like it was like going to any other gig anywhere else.
But I imagine that probably had a lot more people from like surrounding cities visiting. Sort of makes a
it
difference.
still didn't sell out, I don't think, from what I heard. Anyone that's Architects in Oxford A2 Academy.
Oxford rarely sells out.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. But that's a band of that calibre who we're going to go see at Ali Pali in 2 months, and they've sold that out before.
Everyone likes indie around here.
Yeah. Fucking India. God.
But no, I think
hang on a second. I'm going to truck.
it was a great gig. I think one of my notable things that I'd said in the end of the vlog was Toby's vocals. I think they were just really solid
He's
throughout.
great, isn't he?
And my main one was the screams that seeing them twice last year at Slam Dunk and Heavy Music Awards. Even then, I feel like I've seen a growth in the vocals and that they've just got stronger and better. And it was just a solid performance from start to finish. I thought,
considering you potentially had COVID at the time we saw him as well.
Exactly, that's ridiculous.
Impressive.
I felt with Modern Era, I didn't enjoy the album beforehand. I still wouldn't say I'm a big fan or anything, but I think they did put on a good live show. You two enjoyed it more than me, I think. So what do you think of them?
I was really intrigued as to how the live show would work because there's only 3 of them in the band, and obviously there's a lot of electronic elements, a lot of guitar, a lot of things going on. But yeah, it all worked really well. It was kind of a mix of backing track and live mixing, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the sort of instance of seeing a band live that then makes the album feel elevated when you go back to it, which is actually the same thing that happened when I saw Trash Boat when they supported Beartooth. Did they support Beartooth?
Yeah.
And yeah, I really, really loved it. I liked how their set was split in half with the two, I can't think of what they're called now, Modern Age and Human Error, I think they might be called. Something like that. The two sort of intros to each half of the album.
Yeah.
Like using that to sort of punctuate like the halfway point in the set and the opening of the set, I thought was really cool. And yeah, their vocalist was great live as well. But Trash Boat was just fucking sick. It's a shame they didn't play the Given Up cover because he does, you know, that really long Linkin Park scream. Toby pretty much nailed
for the sake of James hearing it, it would have been nice if they played it.
Yeah.
But I was just happy that because we only saw them as well. I saw them as recently as December, and me and you, Alex, we went to their headline tour not long before that, I think. So it was nice to kind of have a mixed up set, like a different one to that occasion, because that was more of an album tour, whereas this was just the play wherever we fancy tour. Yeah,
it was really nice to see Oxford eventually sort of warm up and move around a bit.
Yeah, I mean, we criticised the Oxford crowd then, but we should say that it did open up after a couple of songs, and it pretty much didn't close the whole night.
Yeah, it was good.
It was really nice.
Courtesy of your boys.
Well, I mean, it's such a small venue that most of the crowd was pretty much us, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so
sort of don't have a choice, do you? Have we got any gigs coming up?
We're off to Underground Festival in Gloucester. It's a free festival, seeing Holding Absence, the Static Dress that we talk about a lot, some new bands that we get to see. It's going to be a good time.
Going to be vlogging?
Oh yeah,
going to be vlogging.
I'm not going. That's a shame.
Sadness for you.
I'm seeing Lewis Watson though in Oxford, little indie acoustic legend, local legend. So that'll be fun. Might vlog that as well.
See, they love their indie in Oxford.
Love their indie, yeah. Well, there we go. And then it's festival season after that, pretty much. Core, blimey.
It's weird how quick it is around the corner, and it's kind of scary in a way.
Well, let's continue to build that anticipation in the next segment.
So we are inching closer to festival season. We're going to quite a fair few. There's also so much others happening. Let's have a look at all the lineups. go through each of them, see what we're liking, see what we're most looking forward to the ones we're going to. Start with Glastonbury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's on the 22nd.
One that we're not going to.
We're definitely not going to
Not
that.
going to. But it is pretty bloody good.
I do like this.
So 22nd to 26th of June, later this year. Go on
Well,
then.
let's start
for
with
it.
those 4 headliners. To be honest, every taste is catered for in that, I think.
Yeah.
In just those
Apart-
4. Well,
apart
except
from-
for James's.
Yeah, apart from,
My taste is not there in the
apart from
slightest.
maybe heavier or alternative rock.
But in terms of sort of mainstream musical tastes, I think Billie Eilish is an incredible choice because she's
I think she's
huge.
brilliant.
Bloody Paul McCartney, you know. Look,
He's a Beatle, isn't he?
he's a Beatle. We can sit here and talk about whether or not the Beatles are good. I don't think they are. But people
I
like
think
the
they're
Beatles.
overrated, but it's irrelevant.
It is irrelevant.
I'm not contesting that he doesn't deserve to be there.
No, yeah, he deserves it.
Yeah.
Kendrick's,
That's just class.
yeah. And Diana Ross. I'd love to see Diana Ross.
So scrolling
Also,
through it.
You've got a white headliner. You've got black headliners.
Yep.
You've got a female headliner.
Equality.
Boxes ticked.
Yeah.
From 3 white guys, we say boxes ticked. Well done.
Well, no, but we need more of that.
Yeah.
You need representation, especially that high up at the biggest festival in the country.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good to see.
But as you sort of like scroll through the rest of the lineup, again, it's just ticking loads of really popular boxes, I think. Idols sharing the lineup with, Megan Thee Stallion and then Olivia Rodrigo. And then you've got Turnstile next, right
I
there
love
with
the
Wallflowers.
turnstile next to TLC.
Yeah, it's just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, I know we're going to get into it in a minute. This is the diversity that Reading and Leeds thinks it has in terms of genres and styles and actual diversity in terms of the performers. I got no faults for Glastonbury because I don't think they're going to put on anything heavy.
You know what?
They don't have to.
It doesn't cater to a specific audience, does it? It's just a great showcase of great artists from a mix of different genres.
James, you're oddly quiet. Nothing to add?
No.
Well,
Let's go to another one that you'll be able to contribute to highly. Reading and Leeds. Well, maybe not contribute, but you'll have a strong opinion on, I imagine.
Well, looking through the lineup.
It's just Saturday
riveting,
for you,
isn't it, James?
Yeah, I'm just like bands that if I was at a festival and I had free time, I'd go and see. No one on the Friday that personally, where I stand, I'd pay to see, if I'm honest. Saturday, Bring Me the Horizon. And we'll leave it there in terms of the minute of who I pay to go and see. That's my Reading and Leeds.
I think the thing with this lineup, and sort of the way that I felt about Reading and Leeds for a few years, but this year more so than ever, if I was given a free ticket and I went, I'm sure I could make a good time out of it. But there is nothing here that makes me want to part with that much money. For a ticket.
I'm with you on that. There's loads of artists on here. Well, obviously, we're primarily a rock and metal podcast. We like our rock and our metal. So Bring Me the Horizon stand out on there. Enter Shikari, Rage Against the Machine. But there's a lot of artists on there that, again, I like them, but I wouldn't pay to go and see them. I would see them if I was there. Like Dave, for example, I think he's great. Circa Waves are good fun.
Fever.
Fever 333. I mean, I would pay to go and see them, to be fair.
Static Dress.
Yeah. Run the Jewels, I think, are class, but again, I don't think I'd go out of my way to see them.
Would you go out your way to see Bastille?
No. I didn't in 2018.
No,
No,
won't now.
2019, and to be fair, they played the same time as Foo Fighters, so I wouldn't have seen them anyway.
It's a toss-up, isn't it?
Yeah.
The thing also that I really don't like about Reading, this whole double headliners thing is a fucking farce. It's so obvious that it's Dave, Arctic Monkeys and Rage. Those are the headliners.
Yeah.
They are the bands that we will be playing last. They're literally billed above the other 3 headliners. And I think to me, it's just like a really cheap way of trying to be like, look at how many headliners we've got. We could have just fucking saved 3 of them for next year.
Well, I've been to Reading Festival twice, and I think my favourite stage there was the Radio 1 and ME tent. It had such a great atmosphere of having Because obviously you can have a light show on there if you're a band in the middle of the day, because it's kind of sheltered and in the shade and dark. The sound just kind of stays in and creates a really nice atmosphere. But because they've got 2 main stages, they've just completely got rid of that stage, and now it's just.
Well, that's such a shame.
I can't really say in detail because I've not been since this new format, but I can't see it working for me.
No, I don't think this would work. I don't think I'd enjoy it.
Like you said as well, it's billed as 6 headliners, but really the headliner's the last band that's on that night.
Yeah. And like I know we all like Bring Me, but in terms of the Reading audience, Bring Me are not on the level of Arctic Monkeys. I don't think you can compare them.
No.
Anyway.
And a band that should be headlining Download, really.
Well, yeah.
You see, I don't know that. I think there's a weird gap now with the direction Reading and Leeds has gone. It's gone from kind of being, like we mentioned with Glastonbury, it's kind of catered for a lot of different genres. That's what Reading and Leeds used to do, whereas now it's kind of Bring Me the Horizon, Rage Against the Machine, maybe Enter Shikari are the only kind of properly heavier bands perhaps on that lineup, or in terms of big names anyway. But they're kind of lost in the space of Downloads just going for
pure heavy.
Yeah, heaviness. If it's not heavy, then it's not Download.
But then where
Reading and Leeds used to be the space for kind of alternative rock and kind of pop rock and pop punk and stuff like that. But now Reading and Leeds is going towards kind of grime, hip hop and pop music and a bit of dance music. Download stayed in like this heavy zone, and there's kind of nowhere for these bands in between.
Yeah,
to
and
fit
like
in.
Bring Me's too. I think it would feel too big for Slam Dunk.
For sure.
But then, in a way, maybe that would elevate Slam Dunk if they can get Bring Me as a headliner. But
I think there's a market for something like the Download pilot that happened last year. There's a market for something like that, I think.
It's a real shame.
In terms of the statement on it being heavy, there is no argument there that compared to who's at Download this year in terms of headliners, Kiss, Iron Maiden, Biffy Clyro, Bring Me the Horizon as a band overall are heavier than any of those 3.
Yeah.
So then, therefore, they would fit that Download bill. We've got a video that's going to be coming out looking at the Download Festival headliners, looking at who's played, how many times they've played, the kind of staleness that there's been of these headliners, and that we need that new wave coming through. And you're going to have maybe a couple of years where it's going to feel like there's maybe a dip in attendance on that. But bands like Kiss and Iron Maiden going this year, they're not going to be around for forever. You need a new breed to come through. And if you're looking in terms of a homegrown British act compared to like an Iron Maiden, who's going to be top of your bill? Apart from obviously you've got Biffy there, but as a new breed coming through, who's top of your bill?
Yeah.
Bring Me. Architects aren't quite there just yet, but probably teetering on the edge. You had a day where you had Bring Me the Horizon headlining, and just underneath them as Architects. You're then starting to build this new breed through. And that's where it needs that fresh blood to come in, and it's not getting that currently.
Taking it back to another point on Reading and Leeds is like these bands don't even really mix together. Like if with the way these stages work, you've got Bring Me the Horizon playing just before Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
Which is, apart from they're both from Sheffield, there's not really many similarities there.
And then mixed in with like Fontaine's DC, and then Jack Harlow's there. And
Yeah.
It's just yeah.
It also feels like with these 6 headliners, they've kind of blown all the budget on. I know there's a lot more to be announced still, but they've blown a lot of the budget on them, and then like you've got the smaller bands, and then the bigger bands, and there's no one kind of in between to kind of feed up.
Yeah, because like the only band on there,
it could be
like,
that, or it could be that it's just not
to be announced,
my kind of genre anymore, and I just don't recognise the name.
I feel like Shikari are a good sort of in between lower bands and a headliner.
They are, but they're going to be so low down because the way they do the stages, it's kind of because you've got main stage east, main stage west. There'll be a band playing on the west stage while someone's setting up on the east stage, so it'll go west east. Yeah. So you'll have Arctic Monkeys headlining, Bring Me the Horizon will be on just before them, and then Wolf Alice before them, and then D Block Europe before them, and then Fontaine's before them. So Shikari are going to be on like right at the start of the day. Nowhere near, although they're next to Bring Me the Horizon on the poster, they're not going to be on like even close to the same time.
Also, fucking hell, have a word with the graphic designer for the poster because it looks terrible.
That's 2 years in a row they've done the same design. It's just not working.
Yeah,
I mean, it must be doing something because it's sold out again.
Well, yeah.
So.
But also, I think the culture around Reading Leeds has probably changed a little bit. It seems to be, I've just done my GCSEs and now I'm going to do Ket in a Field.
Yeah.
And not.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that will just go to it because it's a rite of
sesh,
passage rather than for the lineup.
Should we move on to a different one then?
Well, we started talking about Download briefly, didn't we? So should we go there next?
Yes. I think this is a very good lineup, but I see a lot online of people not happy with it. Because I think the easy criticism for Download is that they tend to repeat a lot of lineups. But actually, I think they've got a good amount of new and up-and-coming artists. Just none of them are anywhere near the main stage.
Yeah. They've got new artists, but there's not telling anyone about
They sort of buried a lot of them on the Avalanche and the Dogtooth.
Apparently, they did a tweet that got deleted about how they're pioneering new music. I don't know if it still went out in the end, whether they just scheduled it for the wrong time. But yeah, that seemed quite funny.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with all the bands on main stage, but the only band there that feels like a new up-and-comer is Wargasm. And the rest is just
I agree.
Yeah.
sort of bands that have been trudged out before. However, when you get to the bottom half of the poster is where fucking hell it kicks off.
I mean,
But that's where we're going to be spending the majority of our time, let's be honest.
the Avalanche stage is my home at
that-
Download Festival.
It's near faultless every single day. Like, oh god, I got nothing to say other than I'm just so excited. Is there a band on there that you guys are most excited to see? To me, there's two big answers.
Who?
The Ghost Inside, purely because just their story. I mean, I had tickets to see them on the tour that the crash happened on, and so I've been waiting to see them for years.
And the cool thing is we're going to see them a week afterwards as well.
Yeah, and Spiritbox, obviously, the band that got bumped up a stage.
Are we talking exclusively about the Avalanche stage at the moment?
For now, yeah.
Yeah,
we
okay.
can move up.
Yeah, there's just so many bands that we love on there. Holding Absence, Loathe, Sleep Token, Boston Manor, Trash Boat, Spirit Box, Static Dress. Yeah, it's
Incredible.
going to be a good time.
One of those that you're most excited to see?
Well, I'm in particular excited about the potential run of bands for me on the Sunday. It's looking at possibly being Modern Era on the Dogtooth stage. Maybe Foxjaw before then. They're really good. And then probably Spirit Box, Trash Boat, Boston Manor, Biffy Clyro.
That's a hell of a day.
With
isn't it?
potentially a bit of corn sprinkled in between.
It's going to be, I mean, the stage splits I think are going to be almost devastating for some of it. I'm going to say something controversial. I've been getting into Deftones lately, so actually I'm quite excited for Deftones. But then they might clash with Funeral for a Friend. Oh, shit.
Decisions.
I mean, is there a headliner we're most excited for? I think I know your answer, Dan.
It's Biffy Clyro. Yeah.
Jay?
Yeah, I think the same. I think in terms of main stage, Friday, the one that I really want to see that I've got into is Bury Tomorrow. Saturday, if we're talking main stage, I'll get very drunk and watch Iron Maiden probably. And then for main stage on the Sunday, Korn and Biffy Clyro. I think we should all try and find some tankards maybe and sing along somehow to some Ailstorm because I think that'd be quite funny. But it's definitely those bottom stages down there that really are the ones that appeal the most. I can only really see maybe two bands in particular on second stage that I think we'd choose to go and see, being Code Orange and Malevolence. And probably we'll drag Alex to Ice Nine Kills to get a really fun reaction as a third one out of push.
You bloody won't.
Well,
yes, we will.
No, because look at the clash.
Peel his eyelids open.
Yeah.
Awesome to watch.
But those, in terms of that second stage, that's not doing much. But that Avalanche, they've appealed to us perfectly.
We've got Harriet opening the Dogtooth stage as well, by the way. Big up.
Likely to probably be the first band of maybe the whole
Potentially
festival.
They open the festival up in terms of music. That'd be amazing. I'm intrigued to see Sepultura. Basically because good old Craig Reynolds, he put out a video where he was watching Eloy Casagrande do a drum cover of the Heretic Anthem, and it absolutely fucking rips. And now, just from like a drum perspective, I've not actually listened to any Sepultura. I probably will leading up to it, but man, that guy can play the kit very fucking well. it doesn't feel like last time when we went to download where like kind of sold on one day in particular, or I know I'm going to see this band on Saturday in terms of Slipknot. Sunday was quite a good day. Friday for me was a bit of a dead day. This feels like such a nice mix over the 3 days. And I can draw things like Friday, I want to go see these guys. Saturday, I want to see these guys. Sunday, I want to try and catch them. And having that mix in between, that bounce around between it, it just feels like much more of a grand 3 plus the 2 5 days. I have 2 extra days to make it the 5 days. It's going to be a bigger week of fun time instead of a bit waiting for Saturday and Sunday to kind of happen last time.
I mean, we mentioned the recurring criticism about the headliners, but this is probably the first download since I've started going that I would be interested to see all 3 headliners.
Yeah, I can say
like
that.
2019, it was like, yeah, Slipknot are there, so we're sold.
Def Leppard, nah.
Nah.
Tool, nah.
Whereas these 3, obviously I love Biffy Clyro. Iron Maiden have got some great songs. Kiss have got some great songs, and it's probably the last chance to see them. So
Get the makeup on.
So yeah, I would actually, controversially, I like all 3 headliners.
No, to that. Yeah.
From a big old 3-day festival to just a little 1-day slam dunk.
Just the one day, actually.
Just the 1 day, actually.
I'm worried about stage splits. I'm just going to say that now. I think that's going to be one that I know we've seen, like one of the stages they've actually released it, and it's going to be something that we're probably going to spend a lot of the time at.
I'm going to live on that stage.
You are.
Not on the stage.
Next to the stage.
I've got Triple A's.
Oh, nice.
Nice, good job.
Congrats.
But I think there's going to be bands across it that are going to be on different stages that you're going to want to go and see. The only other thing that's on my mind as well, special guests. We've had that the past couple of years. Last year we saw McFly. It doesn't have that kind of on.
Was it billed though last time?
No, it's just special guests.
Special guest set.
That was it. We didn't know until obviously we go to South, which is usually the second day. It wasn't until North where they came out where we found out. There were rumours up beforehand.
There was an announcement that there was a secret set.
But only when it came out, only with stage times.
It was only like a week before.
Oh, right.
It was only right beforehand. They never usually put it on the bill.
There's people talking about Avril Lavigne.
Ooh.
That would be quite interesting.
That makes things quite complicated.
She's probably a bit... It's probably a bit too big. I don't know.
I don't know, but then
Busted
to
McFly.
a British audience, like McFly and Busted it in a way big.
Yeah.
Sort of good.
I just feel like they're more likely to do it as a secret set, whereas Avril Lavigne probably want to be billed.
Yeah, that's true.
Or the festival would want her billed.
Yeah. There are 3 bands on this lineup that are really jumping out to me that I can't wait to see.
Only 3?
Well, there's a lot, but there are 3 that I want to point out. Eskimo Callboy, now by Electric Callboy. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun to see that set live. Kenny Hoopla is another one. That Survivor's Guilt mixtape was phenomenal, and then the story so far, like one of the best pop punk bands ever.
Things we could, Jamie, just sit here and rattle off.
The Wonder Years.
The Wonder Years. I mean, we can do it very quickly. 741, Neck Deep, Beartooth, The Wonder Years, Canuclepook, Kenny Hoopla, like you said, Amity, Electric Callboy, Set It Off, Stand Atlantic, Hot Milk, like you mentioned before. You've got Silverstein, Counterparts. Just keep going through them. You're going to have
lower
Mungine,
down,
Spanish
some
love
really
songs.
great really great bands. Yeah.
I mean, if you ask me, it starts to get even better lower down. Like Hot Mulligan down there.
Yours truly
were good when we saw them.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see Magnolia Park.
Spanish love songs I really want to see.
Yes.
It's just incredible.
Great.
I'm most excited for the Wonder Years out of that, though. They're going to be playing Suburbia in full, which is very exciting.
The one band you want to see a whole set from?
The Wonder Years.
The one band you want to see a whole set from? Or artist?
I think Counterparts.
Beartooth.
Well, yeah. How many times have you seen Beartooth?
Too
many.
Like, this will be 7 or 8.
Thing is, I think that becomes irrelevant because of the pandemic, and we've not been able to see.
I know. Oh man, the sadness.
Basically, most overseas bands we've not been able to properly see.
The sadness when that January
2
tour
or
got
3
cancelled,
years.
man. Still wondering and hoping that after the cancellation last year, Stray get added on somehow. But.
All right, let's talk about 2,000 Trees then. Another one that's just got a phenomenal lineup. I think the thing that's going to be really fun about this is I feel like it's going to be quite a nice laid-back vibe, sort of a no-stress festival, if that makes sense. I've not even been before, but it's just a vibe I'm getting from it.
I mean, you basically feel like you've been, because I never shut up about it. I just love 2,000 Trees. I've always said that if I was to talk about festivals with no lineup, I would choose Trees as my favourite, just because it's such a chilled out vibe. It's always sunny at 2,000 Trees, and it's just down the road.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to the lineup, they do a great job of balancing like internationally acclaimed acts like Jimmy Eat World, Thrice, and Turnstile, and they just scatter in some up and coming UK acts as well. It feels like a really nice balance of kind of decent sized headliners and some up and coming stuff.
Yeah, and it's no headliners that feel too like. This is gonna sound like a diss, but it's not. Like, none of these headliners are like mind blowing, but all of them together feels like a sort of a surreal mix. Like, seeing any one of these bands on their own would be cool, but to see all of them in the same weekend
I've always liked that 2,000 Trees is kind of a size that they're not going to be competing with Reading and Leeds and Download. They're not going to have those headliners. It's going to be bands like Idols that kind of do multiple nights at Brixton Academy. They're not doing arenas like your Reading and Leeds headliners are. Jimmy Eat World and Thrice that are kind of cult heroes.
And then Turnstile that had one of the best albums of the year. I think Idols closing the Sunday night as well is going to be just beyond words. Like, it's going to be so much fun. I really hope you can get into them a bit more, James, before we go. He's scouring the lineup at the moment. What's jumping out to you, James?
The main thing is just seeing, like, knowing this is the last festival that we're going to this year for us as a collective. There's a lot of bands on here that are reappearing from other bills. And I think part of that is that I'm going to use a lot of the live experience at these other places to really kind of get an idea for it. You look at Stick to Your Guns, they're going to be at Outbreak. You've got Foxjaw, who are at Download. You've got Delay the Liar, who we're going to go and see next week at Underground Fest. Turnstile, again, from Outbreak. You've got... there's a few others I can go through, but just keep listening. But they're going to come on from other bills. And I think that's the biggest one, is that it's going to be nice to go into it, knowing how good you've said it is before, Dan. Learning a lot of these bands beforehand, but I think some of them, especially off live scenarios, and going into it with such an open mind that, in a way, there's a freedom in... You guys are probably looking at it thinking, I want to see this band, I want to see this band, and maybe thinking about splits already. Whereas I think I'm just going to be in a place where I'm like, in a way, just take me to see a certain band.
A realm of discovery.
Yeah, and just kind of meander around it maybe, and just kind of like go and just see such a variety and kind of have your eyes open to all kinds of random shit that's going to go on in terms of different acts, different genres, all that kind of mix. I think that's the bit that actually appeals to me most about 2,000 Trees this year. Yeah,
I think what's nice for me is, like, I look through the lineup and I see bands that I definitely want to see, but it's not to the point where I'm worried about splits like I am with Slam Dunk. Like, I know that throughout the day I'm going to see Knock Loose, or I'm going to see Rome, or 100th, or Stitch Your Guns, and then I've still got the freedom to discover new bands while I'm there. That's what I'm excited about.
I think that's one of the beauties of it. Like I mentioned, they've got internationally acclaimed acts there mixed in with some small bands. I mean, so you can just fill in the gaps between the bands that you want to see and go and discover something new.
And what's mad is my mate Jacob that I went to school with, that James taught to play drums, his band are playing. So if you're going, go see Nala on the Thursday, isn't it? It's Thursday. On the Thursday. It's just mad. That's my friend. He's playing a festival.
The main thing I'm excited for Trees is just to share the experience, to kind of finally show you guys, like, look, this is great.
The coolest thing is just seeing photos of it and just looking at the aesthetic and just being like, oh man, it's going to just be such a fun vibe and so chill to be there. that kind of like layout, how it looks, and just have a drink. To be honest,
For me, it's
I'm
like
looking forward to that.
Trees was the first camping festival I did. I'd done Slam Dunk and like other one day festivals before it, but I think it was a perfect like entry level, because after doing Download and Reading and Leeds and bigger festivals afterwards, Trees kind of has the same feel as the bigger festivals, but without all the stuff you stress about, like the 75-mile walk from the car park to the campsite at Download, or the massive arena. It's just so relaxed and a good time.
Something that is probably going to be the opposite of relaxed.
Yeah,
probably going to be
in like the best way possible.
In the best way possible, the epitome probably of chaos.
And that's Outbreak Fest.
It is.
What I'm really excited about for this feels like a US hardcore festival in the UK. It's going to have, I think, a similar vibe to things like LDB Fest or This Is Hardcore in America, which filmed a lot by Hate 56, which I watch quite a lot. And there's something about just like this indoor like vibe where it's just like chaotic, like pits for every band all day, every day. And the lineup is phenomenal. So I think to experience like an indoor, we're going to go to a hotel, which is going to be nice.
I'm looking forward to having a shower.
Just to be
having a shower every evening after being at a festival is going to be nice.
Being in a different sort of environment and also being in a new city, because it's the first time I've been to Manchester.
Same.
Yeah, I think it'll be the first time for all of us.
It's going to be really fun, and the headliners are pretty much perfect. Shame about Every Time I Die, but double replacement of Death Heaven and Touche Amore.
Well done.
I think is a really, really great replacement. Turnstile, amazing. Knock Loose, one of the best bands in hardcore. Absolutely no complaints from me.
I mean, there's so much consistency just across the whole lineup, really. Like, you look underneath Knocked Loose on the Friday, you've got Your Demise, Venom Prison, Terror. Saturday, Higher Power, Movements. There's just so many strong bands on there.
Vain and Loathe then on the Sunday as well. No, it's just going to be incredible.
Going to come out of it in like a full body cast. Cause
I think so. Broken Bones.
And I mean, we were already sold on the main 3 days, but then that Thursday got announced as well, and you can't not go to that.
Also,
stick to your guns, Counterparts, See Space Cowboy, and a second dose of Static Dress.
I just think it's great. And also the opportunity for like, there's live podcasts, talks and panels, art and photography exhibitions, skateboarding, food vendors, an opportunity to talk with producers like Will Yip is like, for me, as someone that makes music, is going to be like an invaluable experience. Like,
this feels, in a way, to me, going into it more than just a festival. This feels almost like an exhibition.
Yeah.
Like, I've been to a drum exhibition before, I've been to other music exhibitions, I've been to a sports one last year, and you kind of have that feel. You're going to go around different vendors. There were live MMA fights on, there were strongman events. You would go around and look at supplements, nutrition, food stores. You're getting things handed to you left, right and centre, and you come away with all kinds of shit. And not that you're going to get that necessarily here, but you kind of have that mix of, obviously, you're going for the bands for the most part. That's the 99% of people are going for that. But having everything around there, like the skateboarding, the podcasting, art exhibitions, where apart from the only thing that comes to mind is Knotfest, where they've got their own museum of shit, where are you going to have art exhibitions at festivals? Where are you going to have marketplaces and things like that? Nowhere. Where are you going to have skateboarding? It's not happening. And I feel like this is going to be more than just a festival. It's going to be a lot more of a complete different experience, which is one of the things that I'm so excited by.
I think when I look to like the US hardcore scene and things like This Is Hardcore Festival and LDB Fest, it's like there's such a strong sense of like community and culture, and like all the bands being so tight and together, and it's all for the fans and for the bands as well. And like this feels like the UK getting a taste of that, and hopefully, I mean, it's a 10-year anniversary, and this is the first year I think I've ever heard of it.
I've not heard of it.
I've never really.
I've heard of it before. I'm sure it's been a lot smaller previously.
But it's going to be so cool to sort of. I think that's the thing I love about festivals. It's like being on a great big holiday camp with like-minded people, and like you can see people in band shirts that you like and stuff.
But that's the thing. We walk down the street going to a gig, and you're always pointing out as you get closer to that venue, you're saying, "Oh, band t-shirt, or band t-shirt," and that's what it is. It's 3 to 5 days for the most part of just constant people like that, and it's just a fun atmosphere.
Just remember that basement anniversary set as well.
Yes,
That's going to go off.
And even a band like Citizen, like again, we've done this with every line we've looked at.
Yeah, but they're just kind of
pour over it.
They're just kind of slotted in there, aren't they?
Yeah. I think this is I don't want to ask you guys as well, but this is the one that I'm the most excited for. So, with that in mind, what festival of all the ones we're going to are you most looking forward to this year?
I think about 2000 Trees a lot. I dream of 2000 Trees, specifically Pup. On that Thursday, I think they were playing. Yeah, it feels like a spiritual home for me.
Nice.
Which is funny because it's only about 30 minutes down the road from us. But yeah, love that place.
I feel like my instinct snap decision would say Slam Dunk because of having so much fun last year. A big group of people, pretty much similar to what we're going to have again this year of it. It's a great one-day festival, and I think the weather helped particularly. And an incredible mix of bands to go and see across the whole thing. However, I think it's going to be Download. I think from the experience of Download last time, for me, is one of the best times I've had in my life. And I think where we just had a great time together and then had other people kind of come and join us after the first 2 days, and it became something more at that point. I think going into it, having other people coming with the three of us for all 5 days, I think it's going to make it an even fun atmosphere. The weather will be, I think, a key factor with that a little bit. I don't mind if it pisses it down, but to have a Download and have beautiful weather and look at some of those bands we're going to go and see, I think will like steal the summer for me. And I might be going to Portugal, so that says a lot.
God, dry Download. We can dream. Yeah, that's it. There we go. Let us know in the comments what festival you're most excited for this year and what you're going to. And if you're going to any of those, come and say hi to us.
We may have a flag there.
Free stickers for everyone.
Woo! Yeah. Woo. All right, it's time for some recommendations. James, what would you like to recommend?
I'm going to recommend Cannonball by Bury Tomorrow. They've been a band that I've got into more since Slam Dunk last year. We're going to be seeing them at Download this year. It's the most recent album they've put out, and they have also teased in the past few days, as of recording, that there is a new single coming out next week, and that it's a big new chapter. They've got 2 new members who they've officially announced now, and as I'm getting into them more, and we're going to go and possibly see them, why not give them another listen to?
Dan, what would you like to recommend?
I would like to recommend Colour Me in Kindness by Basement. Partly because we've been talking about festivals today. They're going to be playing part of it, at least part of it, as part of a 10-year anniversary set at Outbreak Festival, and it's just such a lovely album. I like it very much.
Nice.
Alex, what are you recommending?
I'm going to recommend Distant Like You Asked by Like Pacific because it fucking rips. And hopefully it's a better pop punk album than the one that I just recommended. If you're an independent band, check out the link in our description to submit to the Ragamuffin Radar playlist to feature the best of the independent, underground and up-and-coming bands. We want to hear from you, so submit, please.
We recently put out our first video of our new archive series, showing some of the incredible bands we were able to see and footage from prior gigs before we even became the Ragamuffins, really, and deciding to document it in the vlogs we have now. So go and check that out, as well as plenty of fun gigs coming on the way with these vlogs. Check them out as they're released. We've got more video content planned to introduce soon, so sub to the channel. We'll bring you everything rock, alternative, pop punk and metal. And then we've got more beginner's guides on the way, a nice mix of genres. We're having recommendations from you guys in the comments, so we're going to start putting those in as well. And it's just a great way that if you want to get into a band, we're going to give you some good songs to give you a good representation of them. So comment down below if there's any particular beginner's guides you want to see of some bands you want to get into.
Just subscribe, man. We've got loads of festivals and stuff we're going to go to. There's going to be vlogs. There's going to be all sorts of stuff. Subscribe. You'll like it. And if you don't like it, you can just unsubscribe if you don't.
Yeah, and this is a Muse-free zone.
Or don't unsubscribe. Just say subscribe. You don't have to watch the video. Just keep that on there. Or just watch the video like in your sleep somehow. Put it on before you go to bed.
That's what I do.
Mute it. And yeah, just put it on.
Yeah. Leave a comment. Don't let it be snotty because it will annoy us. But leave a nice comment. If you've listened this far, say, "We love you, Ross."
Also,
we do.
Oh, wow. Also, check out the podcast on Spotify and Apple Music.
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. We never get that right.
Professional.
Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can leave a lovely 5-star review on both of those now, so please do so. Download, save them, and follow us on our socials, all in the description below.